Time for another edition of what I like to call Video Store Classics.
Yeah, you remember this one. Maybe you never actually rented it, but if you set foot in a video store back in the 90s, I guarantee you saw it on the shelves, since I think every location was required to have a copy.
And it's one with an interesting backstory, since the movie studio behind it actually went out of business before it was even released. I'll get into that later.
Robot Jox is a sci-fi action movie that comes to us courtesy of Charles Band's Empire Pictures, and if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that Empire also made a ton of other movies I've covered here before. It was also directed by Stuart Gordon, who had previously made several horror movies for Empire, like Reanimator, From Beyond, and Dolls. For this one, Gordon took inspiration from Transformers, and even though there had been lots of anime and other Japanese productions showing giant robots fighting, he thought there was potential for an American live-action movie showing the same thing. And to make it happen, Charles Band gave him the biggest budget of any film in Empire's history, even if some people disagree on how big it actually was. While most sources list the budget at $10 million, according to Stuart Gordon, it was more like $6.5 million. This was still way below what a blockbuster put out by a major studio cost at the time, but it was a lot more than Empire usually spent on one of their movies. For comparison, Reanimator cost just $900,000. In short, Robot Jox was going to be Empire's biggest and most ambitious movie yet.
There was just one small problem, namely the fact that Empire collapsed before it got released.
The movie was filmed in 1987 and was planned to get a theatrical release in early 1989, but mounting financial troubles caused Empire to go out of business in 1988, which meant its release got delayed. There were also troubles during the movie's production, with several of the effects sequences taking much longer to complete than anticipated, as well as clashes between Gordon and the movie's screenwriter, Joe Haldeman. Haldeman was an accomplished sci-fi author, having written novels like The Forever War, and he wanted the movie to have a more serious, realistic tone, while Gordon insisted on making something more comic booky. Considering the movie's called Robot Jox and is about giant robots fighting each other, I think Gordon had the right idea.
But despite all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans, the movie must have got released eventually. I mean, how am I doing this video on it? So let's check out Robot Jox.
Empire Pictures presents We're Not Gonna Still Be Around When You Actually See This. And it's an 80s futuristic sci-fi movie, which means we gotta begin with a text crawl or some narration.
It is 50 years since the nuclear holocaust almost destroyed mankind. War is now outlawed.
Whoa, you mean all we had to do to stop war was make a law against it? Man, who would have thought all those deaths could have been prevented the same way we stopped kids from buying cigarettes?
Instead, nations have a new way to settle disputes, not with diplomacy or negotiation or anything stupid like that, but by having people inside giant mech suits fight each other one-on-one.
Alexander! You win! I think my back's broken!
Oh, your back hurts, huh? Well, I think I got a solution for you.
See? Bet you're not thinking about your back anymore, are you?
This is Alexander, who's the robot fighting champion for Russia. Yeah, okay, and the movie is called The Confederation, but it's basically Russia.
You're next!
Achilles!
Couldn't they just get Rocky to fight this guy? I mean, after Rocky IV, the logical progression would have been to have Stallone fight a robot.
Instead, the next in line is this guy, Achilles.
You say he's not the best? That's why we're saving him. To fight for Alaska.
You're saving him for Alaska? What was this other fight over, North Dakota?
Alaska, big deal. It is big. Oil, timber, the goddamn Eskimos.
Oh, and the guy in the cowboy hat is Achilles' trainer or manager, I guess. This guy looks like Fat Jim Ross. So just Jim Ross, I guess. Oh, and if you're wondering why the movie's called Robot Jox, that's what the pilots are called. In any case, I don't know what this training's supposed to do, unless Achilles really is planning on fighting a giant robot with his bare hands. Besides, the government's already made a new generation of genetically engineered pilots to fight.
They do all right against each other. Never gonna be jocks, though.
Some of them aren't too hard to look at, though.
Oh yeah, nothing gets me going like a chick with a stylish rat tail. Each jock or Jox or whatever is contracted for 10 fights, and Achilles is coming up on his last one. But even though he's getting older, Achilles can still make some valuable contributions to the next generation.
I'd appreciate it if you could provide us with raw material.
Raw material?
She's asking for some of your Jox jizz, Achilles. And if you thought Achilles was a weird name, guess what the guy in the cowboy hat is called?
Name's Tex, little lady.
I'm from Saskatchewan.
My name is Athena.
Athena? What kind of a name is that? I don't even know what state you're supposed to be a stereotype of.
Speaking of stereotypes, Alexander's got some words for Achilles before their fight.
Achilles, I have already killed you. Right here.
Oh, come on. You call that shit talking before a fight?
Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Get the fuck out of here!
And in case you still didn't know this is an Empire production, here's Jeffrey Combs. Don't expect to see much of him though. I think he's in this even less than Cellar Dweller. One detail I do like here is that they let people bet on the robot fights. Hopefully this guy doesn't lose all his money like when Achilles fought a 200-foot-tall mechanical Jake Paul. That shit was rigged. Okay, time for Achilles' big fight.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
Crash and burn.
How about good luck?
Actually, there is a reason they don't say that.
What? Was that you, brother?
Call him to wish me luck.
We should tell him to stop doing that. Bad luck to say good luck.
You're supposed to say either crash and burn or eat shit and die. That's how it's done. Even if it's not blockbuster level, there are some parts where you can tell they spent more money on this than a typical Empire movie. The stop-motion robot effects were done by David Allen, who also worked on a ton of other movies for Empire and Full Moon. I also kind of like the designs of the robots here. Even though Gordon said this was inspired by Transformers, I get more of a Battletech-y vibe from these things. I do gotta admit though, some of the matte work here isn't the greatest. Also, I got a question what the purpose of all that kickboxing training was. It seems like you mostly just need to move a joystick and press some buttons. And what's the purpose of the trainers?
We lost the advantage, boy. It's clobbering time.
Don't you mean flame on? Uh-oh, Achilles doesn't seem to be doing so well. What's he gonna do?
Ah, the leg. Alexander's one Achilles heel.
Alexander's still got some tricks up his sleeve, or rather his sleeve is the trick. Thankfully, Achilles has a great strategy of standing right in front of it.
You know, in hindsight, those people probably should have just watched the match on TV. Damn pay-per-views are so expensive, though.
Jeez, a fight hasn't had a death toll this high since Tanya Harding boxed Dustin Diamond. Luckily for Achilles, Alexander broke the rules, so the match is ruled a tie. I guess a rocket fist is the robot equivalent of hitting below the belt. They try to schedule a rematch a week later, but Achilles decides he's done with his robot shit and says he's retiring. Instead, he becomes like a lot of ex-professional athletes, a sad, brain-damaged alcoholic. Now if only fans would quit bugging him.
You had the advantage, and then apparently you risked defeat in order to save some spectators.
Jeez, can a guy get hammered on Cool Mint Listerine in peace? Even Alexander comes in to taunt him.
What an impressive end to your career. Over 300 casualties. Congratulations.
In Russia, we call those rookie numbers. I killed more at my 6th birthday party. I saved the clown for last.
Alexander, I challenge you.
Okay, if it's to a drinking contest, he's gonna win. He's Russian.
Case in point, Achilles is so bad at holding his liquor, not only does he just let Alexander leave, but when he wakes up the next morning with a girl in his room, she's not even naked.
Is there something I ought to remember?
I carried you home.
We totally didn't bang, though. I want to make that very clear.
I studied your body.
2 legs, 2 arms, 1.
One testicle, just like I left it. Good. Well, while Achilles is nursing his hangover, maybe he can talk to Athena about what makes him such a good robot jock.
So what makes you different?
Luck.
Also, don't tell anybody, but I've been using performance-enhancing fuel in my robot. Shh.
That makes more sense than this other bullshit they get the jocks to do. How does any of this help with robot fighting? I don't think they train tank crews with hot yoga classes. Also, just like in Starship Troopers, this future has co-ed showers. The movie's rated PG though, so all we get here is an ass shot. Well, time for Tex and Achilles to say goodbye.
Crash and burn.
That's just for jocks.
Yeah, we're buddies. You're supposed to say, piss off, I hope you get cancer.
Now that Achilles is retired, he's gonna have to decide what to do. I could do some commercials for a local car dealership, but in the meantime, just visit your brother's family.
Achilles!
Hey, Tommy! But it's just Uncle Jim again.
What? You mean his name's not actually Achilles? That's like if Hulk Hogan's real name was Terry.
Weirdly enough, people seem more angry about Achilles retiring than killing all those spectators.
Hello?
Tell that chicken shit Achilles that he can take his goddamn robot and shove it up his ass.
Up yours, too.
We've been getting some calls like that.
About me.
Geez, good thing social media doesn't exist in this future, or else he'd never hear the end of it.
On the plus side, at least he doesn't have to do any of this shit anymore. What is this, a future based on American gladiators? This is like if instead of flight simulators, they selected fighter pilots based on how good they are in the monkey bars. Well, Athena won. I guess that means she's the best at giant robot fighting.
Truly historical event. The first female Robot Jox, Athena.
However, because Achilles doesn't want no box being jocks, he decides to unretire. Even though he's come back, they still won't tell him about the robot's new weapons.
No one, not even the engineers that installed the individual units, know the exact nature of these weapons.
Sounds like too good a secret. What if I don't know how to use them?
I don't know, use your kickboxing training. That's apparently supposed to help somehow.
The reason for the secrecy is because the Confederation always seems to know about any new weapons they install, leading them to believe there's a spy leaking information to them.
I don't know about you, I trust that Jap about as far as I could throw him.
Hey, the doc's weird, but he ain't no spy.
Yeah, Tex is clearly the spy.
Everybody seems pretty happy that Achilles is fighting again. Well, everybody except one, that is.
We know why you came back. You pretended to retire so they'd offer you more money.
Well, you think what you want.
So why did you come back?
Because it's an 80s movie, not a recent MCU flick. You're not gonna get to be the hero, sweetheart.
Even Alexander's glad Achilles is back.
You're making my beer curdle.
And you make my drink taste like blood.
Also, Alexander's from Transylvania now.
And here's another twist, Tex is actually the spy.
And if you're wondering why Tex is spying for the Confederation, I don't know. They never really explain that part. Money, I guess? I don't know.
You weren't always a spy. There was a time when you were like Achilles. We always remain all the people we've been.
I know you're actually from California, you fraud. Luckily for Matsumoto, he secretly records the whole thing. Unluckily for him, it's gonna have to go on the dark web. Meanwhile, Athena visits Achilles at his apartment, and she's got a surprise for him. It's a gun that magically transforms into a different gun between edits.
You shot me.
With a sedative.
Is this because I took away your chance to be a champion? It is, isn't it?
I don't know why he's so against Athena fighting. If she doesn't do well, she can always just switch over to her male stunt double. Besides, the real reason he came back is because he cares about Athena. I guess. Okay, so that's the second time Athena's been in his room and Achilles has just ended up groggy and not getting laid. You know, for a guy who talks about luck, he sure doesn't seem to have any with women. Athena, on the other hand, is really lucky no one realizes she's not Achilles.
Hey, Achilles, a little early, huh?
Oh, hey, Achilles. Ass is looking nice and tight this morning. Yeah, I joke, but...
Go get him, Commander. Hey, this ain't Achilles.
Achilles never gets upset when I play grab ass with him. So, looks like Athena's gonna be the one piloting the robot against Alexander. And according to the rules, this is fine, I guess? They don't cancel the match. Imagine you're watching UFC and during a fighter's entrance walk, someone else jumped into the octagon, and the refs just went, well, you got in here first, I guess you're fighting now. Meanwhile, that sedative seems to have worn off pretty quick, but Achilles is still trapped in his apartment. And guess how he gets out of there?
Alright, well, you can kiss your damage deposit goodbye there, Achilles.
Oh no, he's too late to stop Athena. Now if she wins, he's gonna look like a real asshole for insisting she not fight. Well, maybe if he tells her what to do, he can still take credit for this fight.
You got some new weapons. Punch up the onboard tape file and you might get descriptions of them.
They play Matsumoto's video explaining the weapons, but he left a little surprise in there.
Guards, put this man under arrest.
Okay, relax, Tex. It's the future. Just say that's a deep fake and not really you.
Or, you know, you could just do this.
I'll see you in hell.
Well, that looks bad, but I'll see you in hell actually means have a nice day in the future.
And holy shit, Alexander's robot has spider legs now. Doesn't he know that's gonna make it much harder to animate? And despite Athena's robot having some new weapons like a really bright light, that's still no match for the tried and true fighting technique of ground and pound.
Use the bolo saw!
Hey, how about you quit being a backseat jock driver? Besides, it doesn't do any good. Even with one arm, Alexander still manages to pound the crap out of her. Damn, too bad Tex is dead. We could have had him say, "Oh my god, somebody stop the dang fight. Enough's enough." Alright, dude, congratulations, you won. You can have Alaska. All that timber and overpriced McDonald's is yours. And don't squash Athena yet, Achilles just got here. Squish him instead.
I called, you know. Squash you both. Like bags. I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your ass!
Not bad, but I like it even better in the trailer.
I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your...
Robot Jox. I'm okay with censoring profanity as long as it's done with an explosion.
And damn it, Achilles, she doesn't need CPR. Quit trying to make this perfunctory romance plot happen. Turns out Achilles doesn't even need to fight Alexander since he gets disqualified after he robo-curb stomps the refs.
Achilles, the Confederation lost when Alexander defied the referees. The battle's over.
Not for me.
Man, Achilles does not know how to take a win, does he?
Alright, time for Achilles and Alexander to battle for the fate of... well, it's really just a pissing contest between these two at this point. This is also where the movie goes extra anime and has both the robots fly out into space. I don't know why they didn't just do this before. Seems like it would save on civilian casualties if they just held all their battles in space, but whatever. The space part also doesn't last very long, although that's probably for the best since it also shows some of the movie's budget limitations. Best take this fight back to Earth. David Allen's effects work looks a lot better down there.
Oh, and remember when I said Stuart Gordon was inspired by Transformers?
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Wow, you can barely tell.
Man, these robots sure have a lot of abilities they could have used before, but for some reason didn't. Now that Achilles is in his robo-yoga tank pose, let's see how he does against Alexander. Pro tip, always aim for the crotch. Speaking of which, Alexander's got a little surprise for him. Yeah, that's right. This movie just went from Robot Jox to Robot Cox. Damn, instead of his heel, it turns out Achilles' one weakness was a giant chainsaw dick. Right now, he is probably wishing he just took that disqualification win. He's still not done fighting yet, though.
Congratulations, Achilles, you destroyed Alexander's robot. After he destroyed yours, so I think that means you still lose.
And so, with Alexander defeated... No, we still need to get this to feature length, Achilles. Alright, you know what, Achilles? If Alexander's tough enough to somehow survive this, I think that makes him the winner.
Now, in most movies like this, you'd expect it to end with the hero triumphantly killing the villain in hand-to-hand combat. That is not how this one ends. You want to know how it does?
We can both live!
That's right, it ends with cooperation and a fist bump. This is one of those endings you're either gonna find pleasantly surprising or be really pissed off by. Me? I kinda like it. Imagine if Transformers ended with Optimus Prime and Megatron high-fiving each other. Like I mentioned, Robot Jox was originally supposed to be released in early 1989, but in the meantime, Empire Pictures collapsed, putting the movie in limbo. Eventually, the rights were bought up by Triumph Pictures, who gave the movie a theatrical release in November 1990, where it earned just $1.3 million, way below its production budget. But of course, it went on to become a staple of video stores and cable TV showings for the rest of the decade, eventually getting a cult following. By that point, Charles Band had already formed a new company, Full Moon, where he discovered his real fortunes didn't lie in making movies about giant things, but rather tiny ones. Despite bombing at the box office, Robot Jox did end up becoming kinda influential in its own way. It was one of the first live-action Western movies to show giant robots fighting each other, something that would end up becoming popular many years later with the Michael Bay Transformers series. Charles Band also made two kinda, sorta, not really sequels with Crash and Burn and Robot Wars. Plus, Guillermo del Toro must have rented this one at the video store too, since Pacific Rim shares a lot of similarities to it, to the point where Stuart Gordon said he got deja vu watching it.
But enough about what it influenced, how's the actual movie stack up?
The main thing going against it is you can really see the clashing tones going on between what Gordon and Haldeman both wanted for the movie. For example, there are some interesting touches about the post-apocalyptic world, like suggestions most of the population can't read and various posters encouraging people to have kids and repopulate the Earth. But because the movie's only 85 minutes long, none of them get developed very much. Also, while some actors play their roles pretty seriously, characters like Tex and Alexander are so over-the-top and stereotypical they seem straight out of a G.I. Joe cartoon. And don't even get me started on the romance subplot between Achilles and Athena, which is just kinda awkwardly shoehorned in and doesn't even really go anywhere. So the movie's definitely got some problems, but it also has a lot going for it. The giant robot fights are fun in all their stop-motion animated glory, and even if Paul Koslow's Alexander is basically a cartoon villain, he is still pretty fun to watch. Overall, this one seems like it was pretty much destined to be a video store or late-night cable TV staple. It's the kind of movie you watch at home with some friends when you're in the mood for some dumb giant robot fun.
Well, it's all for now. And remember, if you're impersonating a male jock, don't get upset if somebody smacks you on the...
Crash and Burn suddenly takes on a new meaning.
Yeah.